I've never really considered myself someone who scares easily. I live alone. I watch horror movies before bed. And I've always felt safe in my little apartment until the night I got the first message. It was around 11:30 p.m. I had just turned off the lights and climbed into bed when my phone buzzed. Unknown number. The message read, "I know where you sleep." I sat up, more confused than afraid. I figured it had to be some sort of prank. Wrong number, maybe. I ignored it and went back to sleep. The next night, around the same time, another message. "You look peaceful when you dream." This time, it unsettled me. I hadn't told anyone about my dreams, about how vivid and strange they had been recently. The idea that someone might be watching me, it made my skin crawl. I closed the curtains tighter, double-locked the door, and tried to dismiss it again. But the messages kept coming, every night, always from different numbers, always personal. "Blue pajamas tonight. I like them." "You didn't finish your dinner." "Why do you leave the light on in the hallway?" "Afraid of the dark." They knew everything. What I wore, what I ate, where I sat, how I moved. And yet, my curtains were closed, my blinds too. I told my friends, but most of them thought I was exaggerating. One even suggested I was sending the messages to myself for attention. The police took a report, but without threats or proof of intrusion, there wasn't much they could do. So I started sleeping at my sister's place. I left town for a weekend. I even changed my phone number, but the messages followed me. "Nice guest room. The mattress is loud. Your niece talks in her sleep. Creepy." That was the moment it clicked. This person wasn't just stalking me. They were with me, always one step ahead. Then, suddenly, after weeks of torment, nothing. Silence. No messages. No calls. No signs. Days turned into weeks. I began to breathe normally again. I started going out without checking behind me every 5 seconds. I even left the curtains open one night. And then, 1 month later, the final message arrived. No number, just a notification. "I liked you better when you were scared." I dropped the phone. I couldn't move. That simple sentence destroyed any illusion of safety I had built back. It's been a year. I've moved, changed phones again, updated every lock and camera I could. But I still feel them sometimes, watching, waiting, and I've realised I don't fear the dark anymore. I fear what might still be hiding in it. I've always loved the quiet that comes with living just outside the city. No traffic sounds, no neighbours yelling through walls, just the rustling of trees and the occasional dog barking in the distance. It felt peaceful, safe. That changed last fall. It started with something small. One night, I was in the living room, watching a documentary with the lights dimmed. Out of the corner of my eye, I noticed movement outside the window. Just a shadow. Quick, barely noticeable. I paused the TV and stood up, walked to the window, and looked out into the yard. Nothing. No one. just darkness and the faint outline of my garden shed. I figured it was a bird, or maybe a cat. I shrugged it off. But the next night, it happened again. Only this time, the shadow lingered. It didn't move quickly. It stood still, just beyond the reach of the porch light, as if it knew exactly where to stay hidden. I couldn't make out a face or shape, just the silhouette of a figure, still, watching. I flicked the porch light on and opened the door, stepping out a few feet. "Hello?" I called. No answer. The shadow was gone. The following morning, I found footprints in the dirt under the window. Large, deep, not mine. That's when I decided to install cameras. One facing the backyard, another aimed at the porch. I checked the footage the next day. Nothing unusual, no movement, no figures. But the night after that, I saw it again. Same time, same spot. A tall figure standing motionless under the tree near the fence. This time, I didn't go outside. I just locked the door and stayed up all night with a kitchen knife beside me. I reviewed the camera footage the next morning, and there was nothing there. The footage didn't show anything at all. No person, no movement, not even the rustling trees. It was like the thing I saw didn't exist. For the next week, the same thing happened every night. I'd see the figure out the window. Sometimes it moved, walking slowly along the fence line. Sometimes it just stared. But the cameras, still nothing. I started losing sleep. I skipped work. I became obsessed with figuring out what was happening. Was I hallucinating? Was someone messing with me? Then came the night I woke up to the sound of gravel crunching. I stayed perfectly still. My bedroom is at the back of the house, with a clear view of the yard through the blinds. I lifted one slat, and there it was. The figure, standing just a few feet from my window, closer than ever. Still no face, just darkness. And then it waved, not a friendly wave, slow, deliberate. I scrambled backward, nearly falling out of bed. I called the police, heart racing. They arrived within 15 minutes. No one was there. No footprints, no sign of a break-in, nothing. After that night, I left. I packed a bag, stayed with my brother across town. I didn't tell him the full story, just that I didn't feel safe. It's been 6 months. I sold the house, moved to an apartment with neighbours on all sides, street lights outside every window. I haven't seen the shadow since, but sometimes, in the middle of the night, I wake up to the sound of gravel crunching